Hello friends, welcome back to my channel again. Today we are going to see some really good beginner friendly classic literatures. If you are someone who is scared of classics, who's intimidated to read classics, then well, join the club. I am intimidated too, and I was someone who would be like rather read a children's classic or a manga or a graphic novel or something like that instead of reading a proper classic. Then over the years I got over my fears and I started to read classics, and I started with very simple and most famous ones, and I have learned that classics are really good and they are funny, they are packed with so much of emotions and drama just like any other contemporary novels. And I thought that that is something I'm missing out. If you are someone who's intimidated by classic, you are really missing out a lot of stuff that have been written over the years in the past, and I think that they are really important and you should check them out. So I'm going to help you do that with some very short classic book recommendation, and I hope some of these 10 books would be very helpful for you to get introduced to that genre, and I think it's going to be really good for you. So without further ado, let's start off with the recommendation, and I want to talk to you about a book that I recently read and finished, and that is The Family Happiness by Leo Tolstoy. This is my first Tolstoy book. I really wanted to read War and Peace from him this year, but it did not happen. And I'm really intimidated by the size of that book. And I've heard that there are a lot of characters in it, which is very hard to remember. So it is a good book, but I'm not ready for it. So instead, I went to read a shorter version of Tolstoy, and I found this. And first of all, let's take a look at this edition. This is called the Penguin Archive Edition, and this book is resembled, it is reprinted based on the original print that has been there since 1954. And there is a lot of titles in the series. I just adore this version. I just adore this edition. So I got this in this edition. The story follows Masha. She is a 17-year-old girl, and she just lost her mother, and she has a younger sister, and she is in care of caretaker. Basically both of them are women. Now she finds a man who's called Sergei, who is going to take care of the estate for her because her parents are dead, and he is a friend of her father, and something happens and they both fall in love. That Sergei guy, he's almost 45 years old and she's 17 years old. Despite the age gap, they fall in love. But after some time, she finds that family life is a bit boring for her. Then she goes to the city to explore things, and there gets a gap between their marriage life. It is really wonderful, and the story, the theme of the soul of the story is what that is attached to me right now. After reading it, I felt like really good, and this is something that has to be spoken about. Not every family, not every marriage, not every love story has to be a happy ending or a a flowery thing to speak about. There are a lot of problems in marriages, and this speaks one such thing, and it was very realistic and it had to be spoken about. And this also felt like a very realistic story for me because this speaks about a girl's story, coming of age story, the things she has to go through in life to feel like she has lived. The Sergey guy, he has already lived his life and he wants to settle, but she wants to explore. The differences are what it is talked about in this book. It's really good. It is 120 pages. It is totally around 120 pages only, and it is so much of emotions is packed in it. It is very easy to read, very beginner friendly, and I think you will love it if you check this out. The next book is also a Russian classic, and it is also a very, very famous author, and he is Fyodor Dostoyevsky, and this is called The White Knights. And I have read Fyodor Dostoyevsky's book 2 years back. I think I read his book called Crime and Punishment. I fell head over heels with his writing and his way of narration and the kind of topics he takes up for his stories. It's really fascinating. And I went for this one. It is around 95 pages, not even 100 pages, to be honest. And this is yet another love story, and it speaks about unrequited love, and it speaks about harsh winter, and it's only about two people. There are only two characters, their conversation about life, love, loneliness, and everything. It is the most easiest book to read, except for one chapter which speaks a lot about loneliness that might get a little on your head, but I think the overall story was really good. By the time you finish this, you will feel heavy hearted because it has a sad ending, but nonetheless it is a beautiful story. It is really good, and there are a lot of adaptations on this book which I came to know after reading this book. And I am very happy that I have finally read this book in my lifetime, and so you will be after you finish reading this. The next book is also from an iconic author who's called Oscar Wilde, and the book is Canterville Ghost. This is more or less like a children's classic literature because it is about a family and it mostly circles around kids. And it is about a ghost that is living in a mansion, and there comes a family to live in that mansion, and the ghost is trying to scare them, trying to terrify them, but they're least bothered. They don't, respect the ghost. They always disrespect it by not getting scared, and that is kind of offensive for the ghost, and it is losing its purpose of living, if you know what I mean. So these kids always make fun of this ghost, and the ghost is going into a depression just because it's not good enough to scare these people. And this is a funny story, and it is really good. I loved every minute of it. It is also very short, and it is around 100 and less than 150 pages. And it has a very beautiful and soft and emotional ending, which you might not anticipate while reading it, because the first 90% is funny, hilarious, and things, and the last 10% is really emotional. And it was very good to read, and I felt really good that I finally read an Oscar Wilde book. This is my first Oscar Wilde book, and I loved it, and I really want to read more from him. And I think you will love it if you check it out. And this is a perfectly beginner-friendly book. You will hardly need 1 hour or so to read this. So have a good time with this while reading. Just spend 1 hour, and you'll be happy at the end of it. The next set of 3 books are all plays. I think that for a beginner to read classics, plays would be very, very, it's easy and accessible because it isn't dialogue based, and there are less description of things and less usage of flowery words and difficult words. This will be straightforward. So I think that plays are really perfect for beginners. And in that case, I am recommending you 3 plays that I read recently this year. The first one is called Doll's House, and it's by Henrik Ibsen, and it is written in the 19th century. And it is a feminist story of a girl called Nora and her place in a family. What really is her place in the family is what this book talks about. What is her role? Why is she needed? What is the use of her in the family? What she has to do for her husband, to her society, and everything. It's an existential crisis question for a woman, which was very refreshing for me to read. And this is really light-hearted. It does not deal with very heavy topics, but it has an undertone of feminism in it, which I loved. And I think the feminism aspect of this book was really very well handled, and I love it for it. And I think you will have a very good time. And yet again, this is also less than 150 pages, and it was something I really enjoyed. So the next 2 books are from the same author called George Bernard Shaw, and he is called as the father of modernism. He has supported a lot of modern thoughts, and he has been the voice of feminism during the 19th century, and his voices are reflected in his book too. And the first book that I want to talk to you about is called The Pygmalion, and the Pygmalion is also has a backstory, and it is a Greek reference, Greek mythology reference. In a Greek mythology, the Pygmalion guy creates a woman statue from a marble, and he gives it life, and he calls it as the purest woman. He creates a pure woman. He creates the perfect woman. That is the story. And this story is based on that Greek mythology. This guy finds a woman who's not well, civilized. She's just a flower girl. She does not know the way of society or anything. So he picks up that girl from the bus stop and intends to make the perfect woman out of her. And how it ends is all the story is about. What is perfect is what the story is questioning. And I loved how the story played out, and the characters were very, very good. And I enjoyed the drama of it. And this was a very huge hit when it was first played in the theaters. So this story is really important because of the dynamics between a man who's intending to make a perfect woman, but the definition of perfect is from a man's perspective, not from a woman's perspective. The woman wants different things, and it is a clash of ideology. It's really good. You have to read it. This is, I think, the best work of Bernard Shaw, and I appreciate it so much if you read. On the same line of thought, Bernard Shaw has written yet another feminist story. It is called the Candida, and this is an interesting take on the choice of women. So there comes a point for Candida where she has to choose between two guys. One is her husband and the other is her husband's friend who's in love with her. It's a weird story, right? It was very, very forward for its time, ahead of its time, and the choice that she makes was really good, and the reasoning behind it was really good. And it's a simple story, but it is little bit less power packed than Pygmalion because of its sheer size. It has very less number of pages, but still it managed to give the message what it intended to do. And I think Bernard Shaw did really well on the take of feminism, and I appreciate it so much. The next book is for someone who wants to read Dostoyevsky's Crime and Punishment, but you're intimidated by its size. But you can read this instead. It deals with the same topic, it deals with the same emotion, it deals with the same underlying concept of society. And that book is called The Stranger by Albert Camus. And Camus, I think it is French, so I think the S is silent. Camus or Camus, I don't know, maybe Camus. So this is a shorter version of Crime and Punishment in a nutshell. This has won the Nobel Prize for Literature for apt reasons. This is, this will be some book that you have never ever heard before or never read like this before. It's very unique in its style. The entire narration is very detached. It has actually a lot of emotion, but they'll make sure that you don't feel anything because the main character doesn't feel anything for himself. He is detached from life, and that's how the story is narrated. You will be detached from the story. It's really good. He commits a crime, he kills a person, and the repercussion of what he has done is what the story is about. What it does to his mental health, what it does to his life is what it's all about. And I don't know how to explain this to you, but I'm really begging you to read this. It's one of the most powerful, unique story out there that you should really check out. And this is beginner friendly. It is translated from French, so it's toned down. The English is not very hard. It's really good. I hope you will love it if you check this out. And I highly, highly, highly recommend you to check this one. If you're taking away any book from this pile of 10 books, you should read this one. It's wonderful. Okay. We have come almost to the end of the video. We have only 2 books to talk about, and both the books are a bit chunkier than the rest of the books that I've already shown you. The book that I want to talk to you about is the one that I've recently finished, I think 2 or 3 weeks back, and still it's vivid in my mind, and that is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This is really huge. It has over 550 pages. It's not at all a easy book to look at and pick up. It's going to be intimidating, but it's really beginner friendly. Trust me, the language, the storyline, everything is very accessible and it's very easy to read. So don't worry about the size. You will just fly through it. The story itself follows Jane Eyre, as the title suggests, and she is a kind of orphanage. She has relatives, but she doesn't have anyone to love her. Her parents are dead, and she is growing up in her aunt's home, which is hostile. The cousins are very hostile, and they're not happy to have her at all. So everyone's hating her. One day she's sent to a boarding school to study, and there also she's finding hardships and everything, and she's struggling through it, thriving through it, and she's just coming out. And she becomes a governess for a kid in a mansion that is owned by Mr. Rochester. Rochester and Jane Eyre is going to have a very, how to put it, very unsettling line of romance, because I don't like Mr. Rochester that much. He's manipulative. He's very not a good person, to be honest. He has secrets, he has everything, and Jane Eyre is believing him, but she can't help it. She's head over heels with love with him. The rest of the story is about what secret is he hiding and how they are going to get together, or even they get together or not, everything. But the only thing that I concentrated most and loved most about this book is the conviction of Jane Eyre's character. She's hard bound to be good no matter the situation. She only does what she feels is right, which was very refreshing and very good to know from a female character. It was really good. The story was a 5-star for me, although it had some disturbing, unsettling stuff that I did not like. For example, Rochester's, lying character and everything. But nonetheless, the story was so good, and the fact that it has withstood time for 200 years and still could connect to me, still could speak to me, was really something special. And I hope you feel the same connection and same special feeling after you read this book, and I hope you will enjoy it. So I highly recommend you to check this out. Please don't be intimidated by its size. Just pick this up. Okay, we have come to the end of the video. This is the last book that we are going to talk to you about today, and it is the most hardest to read, not because of the language, but because of the topic it deals. And it's going to leave you very heavy-hearted, not because of the heaviness of the plot, but because of the topic that's being spoken here. And it is called The Virgin Suicides by Jeffery Eugenides, I think. Yeah. So this story follows 5 girls. They are all belonging to a same family in Lisbon, and this story is told in a very interesting format. We don't really talk to those girls directly, but we are seeing them from the eyes of the boys, teenage boys of that neighborhood. They are narrating the story of these girls. We don't actually get to know them. We don't actually get to know what actually happened to them, but by the end of the book, they all commit suicide. So if you are triggered by all those things, please don't pick this up, because it's not an easy book to read, but as in the topic. But the language is very easy because it's written in 1993. It's kind of a modern classic. It's called the Collins Modern Classic. So it's going to be very easy for you to read, but not as the topic. It's a little bit heavier side. But the writing is so beautiful and lyrical, and it's, oh my God, I just can't explain how it made me feel. This, despite the heaviness, despite the hard topics that it is dealing, this is one of the best books that I ever read in my entire life. And I'm never going to forget the kind of things that I read in it. I can't say anything more about this book because it's going to be spoilery, but this is a very nice book for a beginner. If you are really interested in reading a little bit of serious topics, you should pick this one up. It's told in a very refreshing narrative. It has a movie on it also. I think it was a huge hit during 1990s. And please pick this up. You will scold me. You will scold me after reading this because it's going to make you cry, but it'll be the best book that you have ever read. So please pick this up and let me know how you like it. So that's about it, guys. These are all the 10 books that I think that you should read if you want to dip your toes on the classic literature genre. And let me know what are the other classic books that you have read and enjoyed. Please let me know. I'd love to know. I'd love to chat with you guys. And I would take book recommendation from you too, just as I am giving you recommendation. And in the past, I have enjoyed a lot of your book recommendations, and hopefully one day I will make a video of the books that I read based on your recommendation. So please do recommend a lot of books that you think that I would enjoy. And I have also another part of this video that I made 1 or 2 years back that is also beginner friendly classic book recommendation. I'll link that down below if you want to check out. So that's about it. Until I see you again in a very next video with the bookish content, this is Sushmita signing off. Keep reading. Bye bye.